Uh, I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next question. From the Music Reborn, who is your favorite pony musician? I used to have a favorite, and it used to be Mano Pony. But over time, what I enjoy the most about the community is just the songs. A Long Way from Equestria has been one of my favorites. One Last Letter from the collaboration of Bronafide and Aviators was another one. Black Griffin and Proud to be Brony. That song was a lot of fun. It kind of reminded me of Dirty Dancing's Had the Time of My Life mixed in there with some Michael Jackson reminiscence. Um, every now and then I'll listen to one of the more popular musicians out there like Living Tombstone and Mike the Microphone. And there's some underrated musicians out there like General Mumble, Dax, and I forgot the others. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. But for a favorite Baroni musician or pony musician, however you want to say it, I don't have one specifically. They're just songs I enjoy out of them, and I just want to listen to more and more. The next question from him is, who would win in a fight, Paleosteno or Saberspark? What? That's kind of a silly question. I don't know, actually. Saberspark is not only somebody who studied sociology, but also was, I believe, a lifeguard. So if he knows how to save a life, then I think he knows somewhat of physical activity. Verbally, or as far as knowledge goes, I think Paleo outbeats Saber. That's my only theories out of that. But in general, I don't think they would ever fight at all. Um, I'm just going to go ahead and move forward. I don't want to tease them or give a bad name to those two or make... I just don't want to cause any problems. It's just how I feel sometimes. Okay, next one. What are your favorite video games? I will admit I am not that big of a fan of video games, but I understand the appeal. Gears of War is my favorite series on the Xbox. I'm not a huge Halo fan. Skyrim, I still have yet to continue. I've only started like a small portion. I had to deal with some troll in a snowy mountain. I was told that everybody's had the problem. Older games, I love playing Super Mario Brothers. The Super Mario Brothers series will always be my favorite video game franchise. It's not just for the sake of nostalgia, but just for the sake of just simple fun. Super Mario 3 or Super Mario World remain as my favorite out of the Super Mario franchise. I also love the Mega Man X series. I was planning on reviewing Mega Man X4, but I never got around to it. I find that one the best of the series, in my opinion. And I enjoyed Ace Combat 6. It's a lot of fun. I did play some of the other versions, the other installments of Ace Combat, and that's really those are the kind of games that I actually enjoy. For favorites, I might save that for another video. So that's all I have to say right there. Okay, these following questions from Michael Schomer. I hope I'm saying the name right. Who are your favorite and least favorite YouTube reviewers and why? To start off with, for who my least favorite reviewers are, I think that's a bit of an unfair tackle. Everybody has their own way, their own style. There are some reviewers I'm not too fond of, but I understand why others would enjoy them. I won't say any of their names. They're not necessarily my least favorite. I just don't pay attention to them. For who my favorite reviewers are, I used to hate Confused Matthew, but after watching more of his newer criteria and the fact that he could actually take in criticism despite his negative thoughts on The Lion King, I think he's a pretty good reviewer. Doug Walker, he does a pretty funny job on The Nostalgia Critic, Bum Reviews, many other skits he's done. And I also enjoy Jeremy Jans. He's also pretty funny. He actually expresses hysterically in the same way we think. Similarly, or how we can understand where he's coming from, and how we kind of think that way, if just to the simple mind, but still being very intelligent about it. There's a few others out there who are my favorite reviewers out there, but I can't say them at the top of my head at the moment. I used to enjoy Spill.com, but then afterwards I was losing interest. There were a lot of disagreements I had with them, so I hate to say it, but eventually I unsubscribed to them. They just didn't appeal to me anymore. Next question from him. Which film from Studio Ghibli is your favorite and why? Spirited Away, but alongside with it is Princess Mononoke. For Spirited Away, it's kind of hard to explain, and in its sense, I wouldn't say that it's just a movie you would have to see, but there's an intriguing connection that kind of represents a great way for the Japanese culture and the ghost side of it, and that Chihiro is not just your typical like character who would learn to take responsibilities. I mean, she's kind of responsible, but not mature enough. And when taking responsibilities and learning to face her fears, I think that's a good way to go, since the spiritual world and the bathhouse is just, it's so like, whoa, like what the hell? And at the same time, it's very creative. So it's kind of hard to say right there. And not only that, it's greatly well drawn. I also enjoy the connections with Chihiro and Haku. It's kind of vague, but it kind of connects together. And even though it seems kind of abruptive, like kind of out of the middle of nowhere, it's very interesting. And add to this, I love the music, the soundtrack. I especially love the second half of the movie where that music is kicked in. When both Chihiro and Haku are in the sky, and Haku as a dragon is taken off, the music really suits the connection when Chihiro finds out the true identity of Haku. So, aside from that, there's also Princess Mononoke. Princess Mononoke, to me, I think it's the most well-balanced environmental message out of any other movie out there that is supposedly heavily one-sided. Princess Mononoke actually takes both sides and they explain the negative portions of it, but they also explain their flaws. So you've got the Iron Town, the Iron Village, Lady Eboshi, and what her plans are. I mean, yeah, she does plan to take over more of the forest, but it was for the sake of her people, so it's legitimate but still evil. Whereas the animals, the wolves, the wolf clan, the gorillas, the boars, they're all trying to keep their land protected, but at the same time, they're just growing more hatred and more hatred, and it kind of turns them into a whole different being. The gorillas, they were definitely evil at one point. Like, you can see their eyes glow red and everything. And the issue with Ashitaka, I could really feel him. Like, you see that his arm is infected by evil and it's consuming him. And there are scenes where he's laying on the grass and you can see a tear shed out. So it definitely shows that emotional response. I could definitely feel for that. So next question. What advice would you give to people who want to be internet reviewers? How I started out with reviewing criteria is that I just one day just decided to talk about, I just pulled out a word and just typed out what my feelings are for whatever movie it was. I started out with Bolt and Pearl Harbor in 2 ways, and then I decided to do submit a review of Ponyo, which was my very first video review. Basically, this was just out of my own thoughts personally, but when listening to other people, like Confused Matthew, Nostalgia Critic, I begin to understand where they're coming from, and I think that's kind of a good way to start. It's kind of finding inspiration, listen to where they're coming from, understand what they mean, how they see the movie, how they interpret it, explain the quality, like, okay, what's so good about the story? What's good about the characters? What kind of moral does it have? What is it that is most valuable behind it, in which people are praising about or not really seeing the concept of? It's really mysterious, or it's kind of vague, but that's kind of how I started with my reviewing criteria. What's the message behind it? How does it play out? How do the characters work? Like, you see a character on screen, but what does he or she do to achieve the main goal, the main plot, the main story? And the list goes on. So it's kind of hard on what kind of advice to seek out, except just listen to other reviewers and hear where they're coming from. Next question. What is the worst film you've ever seen, and what made it so bad? Oh boy. Chicken Little. That is the worst movie I have ever seen in my entire life. I hated more the disaster movie, Battlefield Earth. I wanted to rip this movie apart. I wanted to do a huge review on it, just like I did with The Squeakquel. And The Squeakquel is very, very close in my book. The thing with Chicken Little is that I love the Disney. I don't want to talk too much about it because there's a lot to explain. I'll try to cut it short. I love Disney. I love the Disney canon. But seeing that Disney decided to go to the CGI section and fill in CGI titles really pissed me off. I mean, that's just a huge continuity issue. If you look at the rest of the canon, they've got separate subgenres of animation despite traditional. The ones that mixed with live action had its own canon. Ones with claymation, like The Nightmare Before Christmas, that had its own canon. But they couldn't have a separate canon of CGI on its own. And they instead mixed it with traditional animation, and it ruins a huge continuity. It's like mixing apples and oranges. That's the first problem right there. If Walt were still alive, he would have been very upset. Secondly, the movie, it has no story. None of the characters were appealing. They straight up give you a fucking headache. That pig, runt of the litter, and fish out of water. Who names these characters? Who the fuck names these characters something of a something? You can say what you want about Dances with Wolves, but at the very least, when they have names like Stands with a Fist and such, those names are supposed to represent first appearances. In Chicken Little, there is no reason to ever name a character like Fish Out of Water or Runt of the Litter. It's not just that it's far-fetched or unrealistic, it's just lazy. It's fucking lazy. The film results in no proper moral. It ends so badly. The morals are, I already said the morals, but the ending was also mean-spirited. You got Foxy Loxy, who barely even looks like a fox. She looks like a squirrel. At one point at the end of the movie, she's completely brainwashed, and she's like, she's going around singing Lollipop, Lollipop, and she's like psychotically traumatized. And yet the characters like it that way. That's really messed up. I mean, yeah, she was a school bully, but that's no good reason to have her stuck that way. That's just really fucked up. And even though the movie's aware of it, it just, And the alien invasion scene, it was way too inappropriate for the younger viewers. The connections between the father and the son resulted itself. A chicken didn't do anything. His proactivity had no effect. And the scene where he gets his reputation back halfway through, and then he completely ruins his reputation again, basically that just ruins the first half of the movie. It's like I just wasted 45 minutes watching it. I can't say anymore. I'm already going to blow myself up talking too much in this video.